So the NHL will score big when it comes to having an expansion team in Seattle. Now, we all know that nothing concrete has been said as of yet. Now, once this video has been put out, whenever I put it out, there will be an announcement. Actually, today is Tuesday, December the 4th, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep, and I got to get up in a few hours anyway. So I wanted to kind of talk about it because I've talked about kind of the esports arena that's going to be built in downtown Tacoma, or potentially. And so I did a video about that, but this video talks about the fact that Seattle is trying to get a hockey team. It's been trying to get the NBA back since they left, right? So the Sonics left a basketball city and went to Oklahoma City, right? So they became the Oklahoma City Thunder. And at the time, of course, I didn't live here, but at the time I thought that was completely stupid. You're leaving one of the hottest markets. And at the time, Seattle was not as hot, but you're going to and this is no shade to Oklahoma or Oklahoma City, but you're going to a tiny market in a place that is not really popping right now. And I didn't understand that. It would be different if it was a similar market or something like that or whatever. But you're going from a place where the people make more money. They really and truly love the Sonics. They have a long history here. And then you're taking them and moving them to Oklahoma City. Well, ever since then, the city has tried, or different folks have tried to get the NBA back to the city and didn't happen. Recently, there's a guy out of New York, rich guy, who has bought a lot of space downtown between in the arena district. It's not officially the arena district, but you have where the Mariners play, and then you also have where the Sounders, which is our Major League Major League Soccer team, and where you have the Seahawks, where they play, the Seahawks and the Sounders play in the same facility, CenturyLink Field. So this developer, Mr. Hansen, wanted to develop a arena right in that same area, but the Port of Seattle said no. The traffic would be atrocious, because the arena would host eventually hockey and NBA. And when you schedule that with all of the activity that goes on there anyway, from baseball to everything, all 5 sports, major league sports, would be right in one area. Now that's cool. I think it'd be cool. It makes sense. But then when you add in the fact that you also have the port, which is super busy all the time, the city wasn't too happy about that. And at the time, the guy was looking to basically bring the NBA here. And the NBA said, no, we're not interested in expanding or relocating or doing anything right now or in the foreseeable future. They're just not interested, right? People said hockey would be your better bet. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be the guy. And I think it's ego. I don't know him personally, but he wanted to be the guy that says, you know what, I brought him back. But he miscalculated, because at the time there were 2 other projects that were being proposed. One was down closer to us in Tukwila. There was a developer that wanted to build this huge arena out this way, a lot of land available. There was another one that wanted to build one over in Bellevue, right? And those were folks that had the potential to do it. And the one that probably had the better chance was the one that was going to come out in Tukwila, and one of the guys was interested in bringing a hockey team to that particular arena. He has the money to do it. Well, Mr. Hansen was farther along in the process because he already had a MOU with the city, and he already had everything laid out. He had bought big pieces of land. He only needed to have a street vacated, a small portion of a street vacated, and so that the facility can take that. He was going to build an entertainment district there and all this stuff. He wanted some public financing from the city, and then later he changed it and said he's going to finance it all. At the time, Steve Ballmer, who used to be an executive with Microsoft, and he basically bought the Clippers, he was on board, and he was a part of the group that Mr. Hansen, the Nordstrom brothers, the people who own Nordstrom's, the store, they're based out of Seattle. All of those guys and some other folks were going to help land that facility here, build it, get teams here, all of that. Well, Steve Ballmer wanted a basketball team quickly. And so when the Clippers came up, he overpaid them. They were way overpriced, let's face it. And so he bought that instantly. Now, obviously, he could not move the team to here. And I don't think that was his interest. He just wanted to have a team. So whether it's with Mr. Hansen or whether something came up and something happened to come up, and so he was right there, he had the money, he did it. Well, that pulled him completely out of helping Mr. Hansen bring in a team from the NBA to Seattle because conflict of interest, right? And he has deep pockets. Even though Mr. Hansen had a lot of money, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars spent on the land and probably $500 to $600 million to build the facility. And to buy a team, you're talking several hundred million more or what have you, right? So it's a lot of money. We're talking $1 billion probably. But even though Mr. Hansen has a lot of money and the Nordstrom brothers have a lot of money, they don't have Steve Ballmer money. Like, that's different. You know, I don't have anything close to any of these people, but Steve Ballmer's got deep pockets. We're talking, he's a billionaire. So when he was taken out of it, it really put everything on shaky ground. And the city's like, I don't know. Well, then at that time, later, the mayor at the time, Ed Murray, was told about a group that was going to look at the Key Arena. Key Arena is over at the Seattle Center, and it had hosted the Sonics before, and all this stuff. Has a lot of history. And this group has the experience of redoing arenas all the time. They have done it with much bigger facilities than Key Arena. They've made the facilities look like they're just sparkling brand new. They're going to redo this entire facility. In fact, Key Arena is shut down now so that they can actually work on it. And all the concerts that they get are now coming down here to the Tacoma Dome and other places, but mainly Tacoma Dome because it's big enough to handle it. And so Tacoma loves it because obviously we're getting extra concerts on top of what we normally get. And that facility is going to be shut down for a few years because it's going to take a while to build it. Anyhow, the people who are doing this has deep connections with the NHL, the hockey, right? So they basically said it's probably guaranteed that we can get hockey here. And hockey has kind of been knocking at Seattle's door. And the city can't really do much because the city can't really go in and own a team. But you have this one guy, Mr. Hansen, who could have done this and went that route, but he would have to change the MOU. And then that would have had to said, instead of NBA first, it would be NHL first. And he wasn't really that interested in NHL. He didn't want to own that team, but there was a guy that was prepared to finance and buy a team. Long story short, basically the MOU expired and the city moved forward and granted, I think it's Oakview Group, and they were up against some stiff competition, right? But they granted them the opportunity to redo and renovate Key Arena. So that's where we are today. Now, once that was done, the NHL, which had been speculating that, I don't know, Seattle's cool and all, it'd be a great hockey market. Yeah, there's a lot of competition that I can see, and, Canada and all this, blah, 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 blah. Well, they didn't really say, yeah, we're going to do it, but they were basically saying, yeah, we would do it, right? So once the city and this company said, yeah, here's the renovation plans, we're going to self-finance all of it, and we're going to throw in some money for transit, because keep in mind, when the light rail line in Seattle expands, it's going to expand underground through or near Seattle Center. They're still working out where that's going to be, but it's going to be very close to Seattle Center, which is Key Arena, right? So it just makes sense. So this group said, you know what, hey, we're going to throw, because to them, that's nothing, right? Even though to build a light rail line costs hundreds of millions, that's nothing for this company, because they're throwing in $1 billion, a little over, for this whole entire project. So what's a little bit more money to throw towards the city to help them with building transit? So now the city says this is a great deal. NHL said, okay, we're only going to give the city of Seattle the opportunity, the investors, the opportunity to, and we're talking folks from Hollywood, Jerry Buckheimer and all these other people are behind this, right? So these are people with deep, deep pockets. We're only going to grant these individuals the opportunity to pitch a bid for an expansion team. So no other city anywhere on the planet has that opportunity other than Seattle. And we're going to give them that opportunity. We're going to review this and see what happens. We can't promise anything. So that was already done. Once the deal was struck and the city said, yes, we're going to grant this Oakview group the opportunity to redevelop Key Arena, they basically said, okay, we're moving on to phase 2. Now, today is when they're going to technically say, yes, we're going to have an NHL team, and it's awarded to Seattle. Supposedly, it could come today, right? Now, it's probably going to happen, because when they put the tickets up for the season tickets, they were gone. No other city in the history of, ticket sales like this for the NHL had bought tickets so fast than they did in this market. Literally, they were gone just like that. Even in Vegas, they have the Golden Knights. It didn't even, it took forever for them to sell their season tickets. Here, it was gone. And then some. So they know this is a hot market for the NHL. A lot of people, Amazon has brought, and other companies have brought a load of people in here from different places who have hockey teams back home. And yeah, they're always going to be, I'm always going to be a Colts fan, but I got to support the local team too. There are a lot of people who may support whatever team that they're from, but they want to also be part of a local team too. It's always great. And so more than likely it's going to happen. Now, a lot of people are saying, what's going to be the name? What's going to be, the name? There's so many different, in the newspaper, they were talking about all these different names, and there's so much history behind all of this. And so that's going to be determined too, right? A lot of people have been pitching this. That's going to be determined. A grassroots effort was done back in the day to get a hockey team here. And people said, I don't think that there's enough interest. Now, today, tremendous interest. So this is a huge win for Seattle. We will be one of the few cities that will have all 5 sports teams eventually, which is Major League Soccer, Major League Baseball, NFL football, and we will have the NHL, which is hockey. And then the final one, the 5 fingers, would be the NBA. That would be the very final one. Now, the NBA is probably scratching its head saying, dang, NBA is more successful here. Basketball is twice as successful here as hockey will ever be. And yet the tickets sold like hotcakes. Like they were gone quick. Like even the NHL was shocked. The guy that's trying to bring a team here it blew his mind. It was that quick. They anticipated ticket sales would last for a while, but the campaign was done. Like within a couple of days, it was done. Instead of it being several months, it was done in 2 days. So now I think that the NBA is like, you know what? Probably we need to look at Seattle. They're probably waiting to see that the arena plan is done. And once that's completely done and all of that type of stuff, By the time this arena opens, which will be 2020 to 2021, probably the NBA will be doing the same thing too and trying to come here to Seattle. It makes sense. The city has the ability and has obviously the money, has plenty of the corporate backing to have every single sports franchise that exists. So more than likely, NBA will return at some point in the future. NHL is definitely a certainty. The board is voting on it. I think it's going to happen. Obviously, if they gave this city the only opportunity to pretty much have an expansion, it's going to happen. They didn't even want a relocation here. They didn't want to relocate a team, and people thought it was going to happen. They were going to move the Coyotes, I believe, from Arizona to here, but no relocation. They wanted a true expansion team. And so for the NHL to grant that to Seattle, that's a pretty big deal. And also, there's a little bit of concern about the arena. This is a big undertaking. Key Arena is an old facility, and they're going to make it modern, super modern. They're going to be digging underneath it. They're going to be adding tunnels. They're going to be doing a whole lot of stuff, expanding different areas, all without disturbing the iconic roof, because that is something you cannot touch. So that is hard. Because of that, the team was supposed to be during opening season in 2020, but there's a lot of concern that the building's not going to be done in time. NHL doesn't want egg on their face. They want to make sure that everything is ready to go. So probably 2021 is when the season will start, which is totally fine. The facility be more than done at that point in time. It would be great to have the actual players come to the facility they're going to be playing in and experience that. It's going to be great for the people who bought tickets to actually go into that completed facility, look around, see what's actually been done, and it really and truly builds up hype. And some people think it's going to wane over that extra year that it's going to take for the facility to open or for the team to actually come here. I don't think that's the case. I think people are more than excited to have hockey here. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are having a great day. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.